So with the advent of the 3rd anniversary follow-up ticket summon, as well as our current login reward bonus that we all voted on and won with, which was the 100 Super Trust Mastery tickets, which will allow you to redeem a 100% Super Trust Mastery Moogle of your choice. A lot of you guys out there have been asking me, what Super Trust Mastery should I go for? What ones are worth it? That's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. Not only do I already have a previous video of the top 10 Super Trust Masteries that I think are out currently, which is something that you can go check out. I'll have it in the comment section below for you guys. But we're going to be talking about currently available Super Trust Masteries, the kinds of Super Trust Mastery rewards that you should be looking forward to picking up with these things, whether they exist now, in the future from other units that we know will be coming out, or even the kind of Super Trust Mastery that you should be looking for, even if it doesn't exist to our knowledge right now. We can still pinpoint what sort of game-changing Super Trust Mastery reward that we should be looking for. And that's what we're looking at today. What Super Trust Masteries are game changers for you? So let's get into it for you right here. Let's go over some of the current examples of Super Trust Masteries that I went out of my way to go ahead and get right now with either ULCs or Super Trust Mastery Moogles. Now, the things that you are not going to be looking for are just Super Trust Mastery. They're going to give you a small increase in some stats, right? Something like Emperor's Super Trust Mastery Award that gives you like 10% HP and 60% magic. That's pretty cool, but really, there's a lot of other normal Trust Masteries that can give you like 40%, 50% magic. So you don't really want to spend a Super Trust Mastery 100% Moogle to get an extra 20% magic, 10% magic, 10% HP. Not really worth it for you in the grand scheme of things. There are going to be some Super Trust Masteries out there, though, that are so strong in the amount of stats that they give you in comparison to other things that are currently available that those could be worth your time. One of the only ones that I can think of right now that defensive-wise gives you a huge leg up on your defenses, your HP, your defense, your spirit, is actually the Emperor's Ring. This has been something that I've talked about before, and the reason that, even though normally you don't want to go after something that gives you a stat bonus, right? If it's such a huge stat bonus that's a nearly irreplaceable Super Trust Mastery reward, this could be something that you could be looking forward to putting on your tank. So let's take a look at why this thing is so strong. It has the Bearer of Burden passive. This is going to give you 40% HP, and then either 30% spirit if you're equipped with a light shield, or 30% defense if you're equipped with a heavy shield. So you don't get both of the percentages bonuses there, but you get one or the other, along with the 40% HP. And the ring itself does have 30 flat defense and 30 flat spirit. So that is very strong. Those are worth around, 10 to 15% extra defense and spirit, due to the amount of base stats that you could have on one of your tanks there. So that's very, 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 very potent. And it also has 50% fire resistance. The only other accessory that has this sort of stats on a tank that you can even exists in the game is actually going to be the Ring of Dominion, which you guys may know is like 30% HP, MP, 50% attack, defense, magic, and spirit. And that's going to be like a year-long journey to try to craft that thing. You need to have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of mega crysts to craft all the hero rings and all that fun stuff to try to just RNG, get the reward to craft the Ring of Dominion. That is the only other accessory in the game right now that can compare to the Emperor's Ring. And even in some circumstances, the Emperor's Ring could still be stronger due to the fire resistance, due to the higher HP, due to the flat stats for the defense and spirit. So that is something to keep an eye out. That is a good example of something defensive-wise that gives you an insane amount of flat stats, percentage stats. This is a game-changing Super TMR for your tanks due to all of those bonus stats. Another good example of something that's a game-changing Super TMR right now, you may have heard me talk about it, is actually the Raven Heart. So if you can get your hands on a Raven Heart, this is going to be an insane accessory that you probably will use for the rest of the game, which is a huge thing to be talking about when it comes to item efficiency and slot efficiency in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. So an item like the Raven's Heart, why is this so strong? It's because it's so jam-packed with stats, just like the Emperor's Ring was, that this could also become a game-changing Super TMR for you, and it's going to have a long lifespan due to how strong this thing is. So this gives you 40 flat attack, 40 flat magic, 10 flat defense and spirit. So a little bit of extra stats there, but nothing super insane defense and spirit-wise, but it does give you that 40 attack and magic flat. It also gives you 20% attack and 20% magic, 10% MP, dual cast, and then it has the Raven Heart effect here as well. And the Raven Heart effect is going to be 50% true dual wield for attack and 50% true dual wield for magic, as well as 25% both physical and magical bonus damage killer effects for avian, so birds, and demon monsters. That is a plethora of stuff that you can use here. A lot of you guys out there have been looking forward to the True Dual Wield meta. There's two other items in the future that will compare to the Ravenheart as normal TMRs, and those are going to be Bartz's normal TMR and Onion Knight's normal TMR. Those also give you, 40 flat attack as well as 50% True Dual Wield for the physical side of things, so True Dual Wield attack. But Ravenheart even beats those out due to the fact that Ravenheart not only has the 40 flat attack, it also has the 20% attack on top of that, and then it has the 2 killers, and then on top of that, you can also use this for mages, True Dual Wield, because it has the 20% magic and the 40 flat magic and the 50% True Dual Wield magic. So if you get your hands on a Ravenheart, that is one less TMR that you're going to be needing in the future. This is going to be used on all of your characters, whether they're magic, True Dual Wield, physical True Dual Wield, and on top of that, it has extra bonuses. It has defensive stats that help you out a little bit, and then it has those killers as well. Demon is a very popular enemy type in FFBE. You see this on a lot of bosses, trial monsters, all that stuff. Demons are one of the most plentiful monsters in the game, right up there with humans, and then after that it's like beasts and dragons and stuff like that. But this super TMR, you cannot go wrong with this. If you're looking for a replacement, maybe you don't want to pull for Bards, maybe you don't want to pull for Onion Knight, maybe you want to use a hybrid True Dual Wield or Mage True Dual Wield or physical True Dual Wield, or you can use this in a lot of different builds in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. One of the other ones that I'll mention here as well, that's a super TMR, is actually going to be Elena's super TMR. This could be very strong due to the fact that you'll be using it for a long time. So Warrior of the Crystal is Elena's Super Trust Mastery Award, and this also, just like the Ravenheart, is very flexible and is a good idea of something that gives you stats that will last you a long time. So this gives you 60% attack, 60% magic, and then 50% true double hand attack and 50% true double hand magic. So not only is this very strong for a hybrid character, because a hybrid will use all these stats, but even if this was like a 60% attack, 50% true double hand for attack, if you put this on a physical damage dealing unit, a lot of characters actually do like using this, and it's going to be very slot efficient, and you will more than likely use this in a lot of builds from here on out in the materia slot. Take a look at this and compare it to something like Dark Knight Luneth's TMR, or even something like Nalu's TMR. This is just the same thing, 50% true double hand, but it also gives you that extra attack. And while that extra attack itself isn't like super insane, 35 to 30% extra attack, it also may just free up a materia slot once you have enough gear for an extra killer materia while keeping that attack cap there. So Warrior of the Crystal, not as strong as Ravenheart slot-wise, but I did want to mention it in here as well due to how efficient it is in those slots, how strong it can be. Take a look at this build here where I'm using it right now. Very strong Ravenheart in here. That's how strong Ravenheart is, guys. This is not even a True Dual Wield character. Because I have the True Double Hand cap, I have Ravenheart on there for that extra 20% attack and the 40 flat attack. Isn't that absolutely absurd? One other Super Trust Mastery Award that I have a good place in my heart for a soft spot is actually Nyx's Dagger, the Super Trust Mastery Award here. This dagger here, I do love it. It's a good example of something that you can use for the rest of the time that you play in FFBE if you're looking for a solid defensive Super Trust Master Award. Nyx's Dagger comes in with 20% HP and has the Nyx's Kukri effect here as well. So 20% HP, and then Nyx's Kukri gives you 20% elemental resistance to every element in the game. So this is very, very strong. Stuff like this is usually relegated to the materia slot. Stuff like Garnet's normal TMR. So you basically have a TMR on top of this strong weapon with a 20% base HP as well. You can run it through Item World. You can get High Tide on it if you so desire. It's got 50 flat defense on top of that. It does not have any spirit, but the elemental resistances more than make up for the rest of the gear here. Now, for some other examples of stuff that you may or may not want to do, let's go jump over and look at this. So a solid example of something that you do not ever want to Super Trust Mastery reward here is going to be something akin to Luneth's Clothes. This is a very good example of something that gives you just a small amount of extra attack, right? It's got 45 attack on a body piece, very, 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 very high, but there are other body pieces in the game that aren't Super Trust Mastery rewards that you can get 30 attack or so from. Heel's Clothes 28, Previous Clothes 30. So nothing super insane here. You do get a bunch of extra attack, like if you have True Double Hand and True Dual Wield, that 15 extra attack on the body piece and be multiplied by your True Double Hand and True Dual Wield value. So you may be getting an extra 30, 45 attack, 50 60 attack off this body piece after the true double hand and stuff is calculated in there. And it does have this nice additional effect of Memories of the Wind for fire, wind, water, and earth resist as well. But this is not something that I would go out and super trust Mastery Moogle. The reward just isn't there. It's not going to stand the test of time. It's not always going to be the best in slot for all of your characters. You'll use it, you'll like it, you'll get some fun out of it, but there's other stuff that can most definitely enhance your character in the long term. Now, weapon selection is also something to think about. Weapon selection in this game can be a huge advantage for your character. So let's look at something that you guys have known was coming up here, the Bahamut Tear. So the Bahamut Tear, pretty old by now, but also a lot of you guys out there have been wanting it for a long time. Why is Bahamut Tear still so good? 165 attack on a two-handed greatsword isn't the highest in the world, but it also has the built-in element of lightning. So maybe this will save you needing to imbue your character with lightning damage. Maybe this will save the ability for you to use a character that doesn't even have a lightning imbue for lightning damage as well. Then it has the additional effect of the Bahamut Tear, which increases the limit burst damage of your character by 30%. So you'll be able to use this a lot on these limit burst damage characters, true double hand characters, all that fun stuff. Now, in addition to the Bahamut Tear, there are also other two-handed weapons, and I'm going to mention all the two-handed weapons. If there's a character that does or want to have a two-handed weapon and you don't have access to one yet, you're using a one-handed weapon instead of a two-handed weapon, and you'll know that if a weapon is two-handed when you go to look at it in game or on the wiki or wherever. It'll say two-handed weapon here, and it'll show you the damage variance of it here. So the damage range, what this means is that's going to be an extra percentage damage bonus. All the one-handed weapons in the game average out to 100%. These other weapons will have a different variance range, and it's going to be a median range above 100%. Their average roll is going to be above 100. So this is going to be up average of 130%. So compared to a normal one-handed weapon, this is going to give you 30% bonus damage. That is a huge difference in damage. Even if you have less attack, a two-handed weapon compared to a one-handed weapon, massive amounts of attack. So if you have a character that needs a two-handed katana, right, in the future, maybe you look at something like Axstar Super Team, or a two-handed fist weapon will get a great trial reward there, but there might be even better two-handed fist weapons in the future. Two-handed spear, as you can see, if you're using a two-handed weapon, true double hand character that doesn't have any sort of dual wield, true dual wield or anything like that, get them a two-handed weapon. It's going to be a massive increase in damage, and as long as you plan on using that character for a long time, and you're not doing enough damage with them right now, if you want that huge damage increase, 30%, 40%, 50% for some of the other weapons in the game, like bows and guns, that is something that you definitely need to look at. Now, for true dual wield, though, there is one that just came out. This is going to be the Zantetsuken Final Fantasy XIII. This is a type of item that is very slot efficient and gives you a good look at something that you might want to bend a super Trust Master Moogle on when it comes to single-handed weapons, because we just talked about how important damage variance is for two-handed weapons. Let's talk about something like the Zantetsuken. Why is this so good? 169 attack, but it has the additional effect of the Radiant Paladin. This gives you 50% true dual-wield attack and 30% limit burst damage. So very slot efficient, very reminiscent. It's kind of like the weapon version of like Malphase's Super TMR, right? Or Warrior of the Crystal. If you have access to the Zantetsuken and you're using a true dual wield character, more often than not, near 100% of the time, unless that character is already capped down true dual wield passively, like Xeno of the Beta Star, this weapon is going to be in and on that character. 50% true dual wield attack. That opens up a materia slot for true dual. That opens up an accessory slot for true dual wield. Very, very strong weapon to have access to. This gives you an extra killer materia slot, an extra attack materia slot. Once you can cap that true dual wield, you'll be good to go. You'll be able to maximize your attack, maximize your damage against all the different monsters in the game. That's why this is so strong. And then on top of that, it also has the limit burst damage, which we didn't even talk about. Just the 50% true dual wield, right? That's nearly like a materia slot's worth of damage, right? Lightning's materia is 100%. So if you had something like the Zantetsuken and you had something like the Ravenheart and you already had 100% true dual wield passively on a character, you get another 100% between the Ravenheart and the Zantetsuken. You're already capped. That means you don't even have to use a materia slot on something like Lightning's TMR. This lets you put in another killer material. Maybe you can put on Dragon Killer and Dragon Killer Plus and lose no attack and totally decimate an enemy like that. So keep an eye out for weapons like this in the future. There's not any that we really know about that have true dual wield on them that are super insane, but keep a lookout on stuff like that. Weapons with strong effects like this here. Now, the next one, we're going to have some couple examples of weapons in a materia that are either slot efficient or are game changers as well. So one good look at a game-changing weapon that we know that's coming out in the future is actually CG, or not CG lock. Sorry, lock, you don't have a CG, man. This comes out with CG Terra's banner. This is just normal lock, Treasure Hunter lock from JP. His super TMR is a dagger with 165 attack with 50% sleep proc. That's pretty okay. But the real deal here is the passive that gives 30% physical dodge and 20% magic dodge. So this is something that could be a game changer for you, not to just help you hit a dodge build, but this has so much dodge on it that if you want to make a 100% dodge tank, maybe you can take off 1 or 2 of those 10% dodge materials that you're using and start putting on HP and defense and HP and spirit materia so they can be tanky enough to survive some of those AoE magic attacks that pop out. Maybe you can use those 1 or 2 materia slots that increase their elemental resistance so they can not only dodge tank for you, but they won't die from the high magic damage of some of those fights in the future as well. So that's why this is so strong, because a dodge dagger with 30% evasion on it and 20% magic evasion as well, but it's really the 30% magic or a physical evasion that makes that so strong. And it, like I said, it's not because it lets you do a dodge build, it lets you do a super tanky dodge build, get that HP up there, get that spirit up there, still dodge that physical damage, and then don't die to the magic damage. So something else that is super slot efficient we may see in the future, something like Kefka's, JP's super TMR here. Very reminiscent of Warrior of the Crystal from Elena here. This is going to be 60% magic and a 100% true double hand magic. So unlike Elena, where Elena is more flexible, you can use it in a lot of different builds, physical users, mages and stuff like that. Kefka's TMR, or super TMR should I say, is something that shows you 100% true double hand magic and 60% magic. So look for materials like this where you can get a huge both attack and true double hand or true dual wield benefit from them as well. So those are very, very powerful and very, 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 very potent. Now, I'm not talking about Kefka's specifically, but ones like Kefka's. That's what I want to get across to you guys here. We're not talking about specific TMRs in this game. We are talking about good examples of specific TMRs, but that's what we're really talking about here, is the example of the TMR, the super TMR, why it makes them good, and what else to look forward to. That way you can get a good idea of why something is strong. So in case we get a global exclusive unit or a time limited collab that we didn't see coming, you guys may be like, okay, I could get some of the stuff right now, but what's coming out in the future? We know some of it, we don't know some of it as well. And when that stuff comes out, you'll be able to have the information for yourself to go, this might be kind of good, maybe I'll feel more comfortable using that there. Or maybe you know, something will come out that you didn't even think about asking about, but because, you know, of this video, you're more inclined to recognize something that's powerful, and then maybe you guys can start a conversation with someone else. So hopefully this helped you guys out. You want to see my Super TMR Top 10 video that came out a little while ago, I'll link that for you guys. I think the only other Super TMRs that I'd put in that video that aren't in there, because these Super TMRs came out after that video, would be Elena's Super TMR, her materia, as well as CG Lightning's Super TMR weapon. So I'll link that for you guys as well. Top 10 Super TMRs of, I don't know, 2019, July or June or something like that. Let me know how you guys like it. Let me know how you guys like this video. Subscribe for more. Comment down below what your top Super TMR of the past, present, and future are, guys. What ones you're looking out for, what ones you already acquired, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.